Chapter 2. Major Candace's war room was a reworked bridge. The captain's chair had been barbarically welded back together from a past attack. A wooden shipping crate was substituted for a table, and sometimes a bed for a few unlucky souls. The torn blankets had been hooked in a corner of the war room. Lucinda and Candace hammered out a plan on the makeshift table. "You're telling me the city holds the cure, but you have no clue how to find it or how to truly use it," Candace unhappily said. Placing her boot on the captain's chair, Lucinda, fed up with talking, remarked, "To know that a cure's not a pipe dream should be enough. How do you suppose I split a search crew of 5 SEALs to a massively destroyed city?" the Major plainly asked. Taking off her sniper rifle, Lieutenant Hawke put it on the crate. Unholstering her handgun, she antagonistically asked, "How did you become the leader of this ragged house?" Paying no notice to Lucinda's drawn weapon, Candace said, "The ship's captain assigned me command before an invading force of diamond skins devoured him." Lucinda had discovered an opening to do whatever she wished. "Wouldn't you love to stop the deaths of your people? To go to sleep at night hoping not to wake in this hell? You're afraid that you'll fail at a task which should have never been yours." Placing her hands on the crate, the Major abrasively stated, "We don't have the means." Firing around into the ceiling out of frustration, using her rifle, she drastically yelled, "Then get the means! This is a golden opportunity, crashing in your lap. You just can't." Distrusting of the Major, she truthfully told her, "I could tear asunder all you protect by simply telling these people what I've told you." Coming to terms with the fact that this newcomer was in control, Major Candace said in defeat, "You win. I will gather my troops." Watching Candace exit the war room, the lieutenant resented. "You go do that." A small amount of time passed with Candace leading a group of soldiers into the war room. "Line up," she ordered. The 5 following her did as she said. According to rank, they stood. "These are my troops," she strongly announced. Casually, Lucinda strolled to them. Opening her mouth to introduce them, Candace approached the first. Being easily seen to be Navy, a man waited. "Yoshi Cannon. Squad name, Street Rat." Closing in on him, Hawke saw he was a 22-year-old Chinese-American man. Yoshi wore blue baggy jeans, a grey hoodie, scuffed running shoes. Along with those, he had on a black bulletproof SWAT vest. Intrigued to be fighting alongside a real professional, she questioned, "Your job is?" At ease, he told her, "I know this trash heap of a city in and out." She moved to the Navy SEALs. Their leader, Candace, said, "This is Ray, codename Silverhandle." Ray seemed motionless and innerly still, devoid of thoughts other than his own. "Why Silverhandle?" Hawke wondered. Rubbing his short black hair, Yoshi admitted, "His handgun." Looking at Ray's belt, she saw polished Desert Eagle, cozened in a leather holster. Pointing to it, Lucinda complimented the cleanliness. "Nice gun." Depressed, he replied, "It does its job." Dodging any further conversation with Ray, she stepped to the next warrior. He was a gruff man, a 5 o'clock shadow, a green bandana, which pushed back his long blonde hair. "You'd be?" he carelessly asked. Tensely smirking, the lieutenant spoke. "Your new leader." Rolling his eyes, he insolently stated, "Yeah, like that's gonna happen." Showing signs of a short temper, she became intensely pissed. Wrenching his bandana towards her speeding fist, she punched him in the forehead, knocking him down. Reacting to the act, Yoshi pulled a Beretta from inside his hoodie's concealed pouch. Achieving incomprehensible agility, her hand took her victim's side-holstered handgun, then moved in back of Yoshi. She looked as a shadow, leaving an image of oneself dashing behind. Reaching for their weapons, Yet the Major did not. The group all aimed at her. Seeing the event as a chance to regain power, Candace resented. "Drop it." Laughing, Lucinda spoke, bloodletting. "I don't have time to dig you all graves because I have somewhere to go. Is cremation okay?" Selflessly, the blonde Australian she had at the end of her barrel said, "Just kill this fucking bitch." Whacking him in the back of the skull, she reviled, "Shut the fuck up." Swallowing her pride for the sake of the human race, the Major spoke. "Don't point your guns at your new commanding officer." Struck by her words, Candace's soldiers complied to the Major's orders. Unbelievable disappointment overcame Ray, causing him to say, "No fucking way." Pushing the Aussie to the floor, Lucinda kindly stated, "There we go." After she talked, she noticed Vigo and Eve were in the war room. Shaking the gun in her hand, the newcomer told everyone, "I will hang on that," Hawke stated. "I'm the only one who can read the DNA code." Angrily holstering his gun, Vigo, dismayed. "Great. So we need her. Shit." Shutting down the team on a fence did the same, releasing her stolen eagle. "I never got your name, selfless one." As he got up, all heard her say, "I miss this feeling." Candid, the man spoke. "Sergeant Kin Stolen, a.k.a. Itchy Triggerfinger." Pleased to have a group of badasses with her, Lucinda casually tossed him his sidearm. Thunking on the deck, the weapon cleared the air for her to speak. "Gather your kit, kiss your loved ones goodbye, then be ready to move out at 2000 hours." Insulting their intelligence, Hawke demeaningly quipped, "That's 1 hour from now." Smearing her, Candace's Navy troops exited the war room. Waiting till her men left, the Major warrantly spoke. "They're a handful, so watch yourself." Breaking her taunting attitude, the lieutenant appreciatively said, "These are good soldiers." Bugged by Lucinda's statement, Candace concernedly asked, "The brash, demeaning persona? Why, when it's not you?" Telling her while she slipped on her high-powered sniper rifle, "Because if they hate me, they're not fearing the horror to come." Passing Hawke a backhanded compliment, Candace opened the hidden armrest in the captain's chair. "Good idea." "Yeah, easy to hate." Grinning, the lieutenant rebutted, "Yeah." Retrieving a red box, the Major inquired, "What's the real you like, Lucinda?" "Why all the intrigue?" she thought out loud. Orientatingly open the red box, Candace substantially said, "I need to know you better." Peering over the Major's shoulder, she saw a silver double-barreled .44 Magnum within the ornamental red box. "What need?" she calmly asked. Gently, Candace covertly locked lips with Lucinda. She had to control her in some way. Completely surprised, Lucinda quickly backed away. "What the fuck was that?" she wide-eyedly stated. Facing Lucinda, Candace seductively said, "What do you want it to be?" Enticingly, Candace strolled towards her, undoing some of her top buttons, exposing her sizable breasts. For a 39-year-old woman, the Major had a damn sexy frame. Military life did her body good. "We've got an hour, and this could be either of our last opportunity to feel good. Really good," she entranced. Outstretching her hand in a halting fashion, Lucinda stated, "What you do with your time is fine, but I'm not like that." Intruding into Hawke's personal life, the half-naked woman before her alluringly wondered, "How long has it been?" Pulling her sidearm, the lieutenant tensely remarked, "Before your brains are all over the war room, cool it." Fearlessly, Major Candace walked to her until the nuzzle firmly held her back. Understanding how luscious she was, Hawke recalled her years of leading more squadron troops into war. The lieutenant thought to herself how every last one begged, even cried, for such an opportunity as this. How blood-splashed jaws rendered them limb from limb, when only the night's joy found them borrowed time in pace. Telling you they both didn't uncover bliss that hour would be as much of a lie as if I told you the mission to come was unscathingly harmless. 100 hours, 3,000 miles in the air, a one-manned aircraft jetted towards the humbled city of LA. The craft was painted an awe-salted sky blue to advance its possibility of disappearing in a firefight. Beneath the jet was the outskirts of the city, where a gauntlet of military turrets, accompanied by ground-braced Loz rockets, which awaited all incoming aircraft. Piloting the jet, Rommel prepared to speak to himself. Only half a mile stretched of devastating, out-of-date missiles. Piece of cake. Pushing forward the ship's throttle, he grasped the pinpoint-accurate navigation joystick. Accelerating to the speed of sound, his jet entered a computer-operated shooting gallery. Registering the flyer, an entire half-mile from him, the weapons began to loose. Inside the Mars Squadron's advanced Lockheed Martin F-65 Black Crow jet, Rommel glanced to his radar, seeing more than 50 flying to annihilate him. Letting them almost touch the raging engine's flame, he violently nosedived, heading towards the relentless weapons below. Chasing their target, the rockets fell back whole yards, relocating another round of megaton missiles. The turrets automatically replenished their arsenal. Catching his radar out of the corner of his vision, the first lieutenant saw a batch of projected explosives travelling to end his life. Pulling back the joystick, Rommel wrenched the Black Crow upwards, his heart pounding in excitement. Precisely when the vehicle was utterly vertical, he turned off the throttle. Simply 30 feet from the Martin F-65, 300 missiles locked onto the falling ship's exact latitude and longitude. From zero to braking, the sound barrier slammed the throttle, nearly tearing the rear of the Lockheed off. Moaning with the abrasion of snapping gears, the system sent him speeding into the sky. Not expecting such a unique evasive manoeuvre, the rockets hit, colliding to the dirt under the escaping jet. Racing from the blast range, Rapture followed an even faster Black Crow. The explosion devastated the turrets for 10 football fields. The destructive force encompassed all it touched. Levelling out his jet, Rommel realised he had only passed a fourth of a mile of the firing free-for-all. Checking his radar, he witnessed a bunch of blinking green dots travelling in his direction. "I'm starting to like this obstacle course," he thrillingly called out. Bashing forward the jet's throttle, he flicked up a white plastic covering on the top of its joystick. Beneath was a blue button, stamped with a red flaming skull. It awaited to be pushed, if it could. The skull must be satiated. Pushing it down, jolted back Rommel's head as his Black Crow sped past the speed of sound. Forcing his arms to hold steady, he barely kept control of his flight path. Drops of blood weaseled from his nose the more velocity he took on. Throughout the jet, an artificial voice calmly said, "In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 seconds, the hull integrity will be compromised. We suggest stopping." Preventing the hull's slight buckling, Rommel calculatingly spoke. "I've got 22 more seconds till total compression, yet the clearing's 5 more than that." Brainstorming, he said, "Come on, think." Snatching the ejection pull cord around his chest, he nervously said, "I got it. A 17% chance I can make this." Raging towards the jet, untold amounts of weapons of destruction hunted the fearless soldier. Beginning a countdown, the first lieutenant yelled, 3, 2, 1. Exactly when he said the word 1, Rommel jerked forth the ripcord, expelling him from the exploding Black Crow and into harm's sanctum. 8 o'clock came, then went, as did Lucinda along with her unhappy team. Candace, Vigo, Eve, Yoshi, Kin, Ray, and Hawk had been scouring the city for hours. They found a whole bunch of nothing. In 2-man units, they had split up to search every nook and cranny. Squad A, report, Lucinda loudly said. Yoshi, alongside Kin, smoothly walked through a barren mall. Weapons drawn would be an understatement. Kin held 2 sawed-off shotguns. A spotless World War I bayonet hid on his back like a shy child. Dressed in black Special Forces body armour, Stolen concealed many firearms on him, as if in a past life he was an assassin. Yoshi used a fully loaded Gatling gun he called the highlight reel, weighted heavily in his hands, yet being the person he was, would never show it. A grey box of ammunition backpack moved up and down as he went. His hood on, Yoshi truly wanted to do more than a simple hike. Itchy trigger, Kin said, stating his burden to Lucinda. Replying to Hawk, Yoshi reported, Street rat. Nothing going on here, like we reported an hour ago. Her voice's concern stated, That's strange. I thought we'd run into some mutation. Hell, even I have diamond skin or two. Turning a corner, Kin surely commented, A week ago, this entire area was teeming with them. His Aussie accent rang out. In an apartment complex, Ray and Vigo were shuffling through a front desk paperwork. His Desert Eagle at his side, Ray bore no other weapon. A golden locket swung from his hand, reminding him of a home lost, years before this evil came to the world. 3 submachine guns dangled from Vigo's chest, as well as his back, allowing him free range of movement. Chucking a fistful of papers in the air, Vigo added to the conversation. Yeah, it's real rare. Where could they have gone? The building Candace and Eve were in stunk of rotting food. Why did we get the sector that smells the worst? Eve asked. Holding her breath, the Major apologetically stated, I didn't expect this. How were you liking the slaughterhouse, you two? Lucinda devilishly quipped. Pushing a bug-ridden cow carcass out of her path via her auto-rifle, Eve disgustedly remarked, Oh, this is great. Showing artificial empathy, the lieutenant said, I'm glad you like it. Coughing from such a terrible stench, Candace aggressively told her nap-time friend, How are you with your easy-going post office, great leader? Flipping through old letters, Hawk, smitten, jested, Not too good. These letters don't tell too much. Speaking over the radio, Kin wondered, Then why are you so damn cheerful? Releasing the letters, she reached for her handgun, softly saying, I found 4 mutates. 4 diamond skins stumbled to her weirdly, as if they needed help. Turbulence in his voice, Yoshi remarked, Us too. Gunfire came over Ray and Vigo's communicator as well. There's some kind of blue fucking dog in here, Vigo yelled. Taking complete control of the comm line, Lucinda demanded, You two, fall back to Itchy Trigger and Street Rat. Firing joint SMGs, Vigo overtly spoke, We got this. While Ray pulled his trigger, Hawk ordered, Fall back. Unfazed by the rounds, the blue fish dog type, which attacked Ramel, charged at them. Taking her words to heart, Vigo stepped back to where he shot at it. Standing his ground, Ray unleashed his weapon at the weak floor, jumping on his teammate's train of thought. He agreed. Right. Caving in the floor in front of them, they sent the beast to the large basement underneath. Erratically, the ground started to crack, falling in as it did. Spinning around, the 2 of them bolted to the back door of the apartment. Blowing a hole in the sheetrock wall, they dove in. What was that noise? Young Eve whispered, making sure Candace heard. We've got a hallway full of these things, bastards, King called out. Smirking, Yoshi squeezed the highlight reel's trigger, cutting the hole's occupants in twine. Letting out a manly cry of satisfaction, Kin happily said, Slice them up. Massacred on the mole hall's floor, more than 10 lifeless creatures stained the linoleum. Commanding her troops in the field, Lucinda told them, "Squad A, keep moving till you reach Ray and Vigo. I'll get Candace and Eve." Jogging to their teammates, Kin, accompanied by Street Rat in unison, spoke. "Roger." Pulling her sidearm, Hawk ran at the 4 diamond skins. Drop-kicking one in the face, she landed as it fell backwards. The lieutenant kicked up, then slammed the nozzle of her gun through the next closest one's teeth. She fired. Screeching, the last 2 swung at her, using their razor-sharp claws. Virtuoso Hawk shot as she ducked her upper body. Her sniper rifle jarred forward. Stretching her hand behind her, she pulled the sensitive trigger, decapitating the enemy. Kicking back, Lucinda's rifle twirled around while she rapidly stood up straight. It countered a second strike. Shooting her handgun at the only upright one's kneecap, she roundhoused it in the head. Collapsing, it fell hard to the ground, smacking its head off a dirty post office wall. Wind sprinting outside, Lucinda put a hole in the first one she hit skull. Now outside, she reloaded her clip. "Yoshi, I'm in a broken-down market area," she questioned for direction. Rushing past an old food stand, she heard his voice. "Take a left, jumping a chain-link fence and go across the bridge." Taking a left, she quickly asked, "What bridge?" "The Golden Gate," he obviously remarked. Seeing the fences, she spitefully said, "Isn't that bridge over a mile long?" Snickering, Street Rat informed, 1.7 to be exact. Don't worry, I keep a rusty T-bird at the beginning of the bridge." Hurdling the fence, she rolled to her feet. Shooting a stray diamond skin, she continued to run. Only reaching the mall's front door now, Kin and Yoshi saw hundreds of blue fish dogs were sniffing around for food. Silently, creeping away against the walls on the other side of the glass door, revealing them both visually, softly whispering into his comm, "We have a fucking problem, fearless leader." Acknowledging Kin, Hawk, concerned, questioned, "And what would that be?" Gently putting down his shotguns, he muttered, "There's an insane amount of those dog things out the door, leading to the apartment's fire exit." Opening a pocket on his vest, he heard the lieutenant frustratedly say, "Well, Yoshi, you're our map. Come up with something." Rolling his shoulders, the Street Rat proudly spoke. "Cool. Free rein." Retrieving 2 C4 pipe bombs, Kin closed his vest pocket, promptly saying, "You remember the last time we got an order like this?" Yoshi boyishly reminisced. "Yeah, we're the reason Chinatown's in embers." Twisting the tops of his pipe bombs, Kin gratifyingly called out, "And they're off." Poking up their heads, the mutations roared, alerting others. Aiming his highlighted reel, Yoshi shot at the base and top of the revolving door, sending it shattering into the street. The sharp glass sliced some of the creatures to ribbons. Glad to see his friend has kicked things off, the sergeant hooked the C4 at the fish dogs, then immediately took up his weapons, emptying them at the crowd. He stood next to Yoshi. After he fired, Street Rat moved in front of Kin, while the Australian replenished his guns. Enjoying himself, Yoshi wooed. He unleashed hell, blasting unbeknownst amounts of fish dogs to mashed meat. Completing a reload, Kin followed his boy. Arriving at the T-bird, Lucinda opened the unlocked driver's side door. Hopping in, she saw a set of keys in the ignition. Hawk started the car, and the lieutenant floored it. Deserted vans, trucks, buses, and cars riddled the Browning Bridge. Swerving around a school bus, Lucinda shrugged to remove her sniper rifle to the next seat. Driving 80 miles an hour, she coolly asked, "How goes it?" Answering her, Kin relayed over gunfire. "Great. And you?" Skidding past a Camaro, she hastily said, "I just got the T-bird." "Once you get off the bridge, go left, then past 3 streetlights, then take another left. The butcher shop is called Porky's Last Leg," he hearkened. Laying on the carpeted floor of an apartment, Ray and Vigo were drenched in blood, plus animal fur, which covered every inch of the bedroom. Fearful of the family man, Vigo got up. Each step he ventured through the once white carpet, now red, squashed. Emotionlessly, Ray rose to his feet. He scanned the room. A broken television was smashed on the ground, keeping open the bloody door to the next room. Pointing his SMGs at the doorway, Vigo waited for Ray to shove the TV set aside with his foot. Looking to him, he nodded. Nodding back, Vigo saw him push-kick the wooden door into the next room. Taking point, Ray stepped in. Joining him, Vigo witnessed a 10 by 10 phosphorescent egg sitting in the centre of the dripping living room. Weary, Vigo said, "I've never seen anything like this in my life." On their radios, the two men heard Hawke's voice. "Vigo, is that you? You're breaking up." Happy to hear someone's voice, he confusedly said, "Lucinda, we're still in the apartment complex. I think we found something." "Good. Stay put. Ken, you and Yoshi on the way," she quickly relayed. Moving closer to the egg, Vigo informed the lieutenant. "The main hallway's floor is out." Replying, she confidently spoke. "I'll tell them, and change your communications back to frequency 7. Taking the radio's box from beneath his vest, Vigo stated, "Oh, it must have changed when we jumped through the wall. How did you know?" Disturbed by her own words, she said, "I couldn't get a hold of Eve, or Candace either." Cracking open her peepers, Major Candace saw her subordinate hanging upside down by her feet from a meat hook. Looking around, Candace felt odd, drugged even. They no longer were in the same room, yet still in the butcher's shop because of the rancid smell which still stuck in the air. "You're awake. Lovely," she heard a male voice say. Attempting to move, she found herself chained to the wall and floor. "You look concerned, Lovely," the voice spoke once more. Searching for him, the Major saw only darkness stretching far beyond her sight. "Where are you? Show yourself," Candace demanded. Walking from the shadows, a 60-year-old Englishman, having bite marks on his arms and face. Honestly, he spoke. "On that day, I gave you command. Did I die?" Shocked, the USS Nimitz new leader couldn't believe it. "Sir, then how?" Going to a hanging Eve, he pushed her, causing the young one to sway. "Laying on that pavement, in a pool of my own blood, I found that I was mutating. At first I was terrified, thinking I'd be one of those mindless, empty-bellied monsters," he reminisced. "Then my wounds began to burn shut." He shoved Eve. This effort had resentment in it. Making his English tone more prevalent, he continued. "Being beaten and bitten so many times injected me with an unforeseen amount of DNA enzymes, making me much more than them." Walking around Eve, he allowed Candace to see his grotesquely infected back. It showed 2 grey praying mantis-like spikes hung from his back shoulder blades. The base of his spine, 4 green poison sacs percolated infinitely, creating potent, pulsing fluid. Dejected to see a man she once thought of very reverently transformed to a meaningless nightcrawler. He was now bent on survival by feeding on unsuspecting life. Candace arrogantly spoke. "You've become a freak." Snatching Eve's leg, he turned to her while he shouted, "I am a freak, a god of freaks." Spinning Eve to him established fear in the Major, chilling her to the bone. 2 3-inch holes prevalently emerged to her eyes in front of Eve's back, showing his loss of humanity. Raging, Candace fought against her rattling chains, yelling, "You motherfucker! How could you kill her?" Grinning, he rebutted, "Killed her? Ha! Well, not at first." Resentful, she said, "You knew her. Why, she fought even when she had nothing to live for." Creeping closer, he sincerely remarked, "And now I know how she died." Pulling so hard it hurt her muscles, Candace shouted, "If I get out of here, I swear I will kill you." Moving back into the darkness, he laughed. "I know you never work in one team. Let's see if I can find 'em. When I do, well, I think you understand." Mowing down another 30 blue animalistic creatures, Yoshi pridefully went to his destination. Having run out of shotgun shells, Kin was using his bayonet on one of the wounded fish dogs. Informing Lucinda of their progress, Street Rat, astounded, spoke. "We made our way to the complex's fire escape, but it's been welded shut." Attempting to take their minds off the problem, Hawk rudely said, "That means what to me? I don't want excuses. Get inside, now." Sticking a half block of plastic on the apartment's brick wall, Kin set it up. Holding back the tide of fish dogs, Yoshi joshed over the highlight reel. "Yeah, you're almighty." Rushing to Yoshi's safe distance, Stolen alerted, "Fire in the hole!" Jarring at his own door, Kin could hear Vigo joyfully say, "Itchy, Street Rat, is that you?" Killing 10 more dogfish in a hail of gunfire, Yoshi loudly exclaimed, "The one and only." Calling to them to tell them where they were, Vigo impassionately said, "We're in room 102. Heading into the building, Kin said, "Yoshi, let's go." Streaming rounds, he followed. Entering the room, Stolen stepped on the blood-drenched carpet. In doing so, he fixed the other end of the explosive to the wall of the room. Retreating to his bed, Yoshi unloaded on the room's wall, which led to 103. Completing the detonator's connection, Stolen ran to the next room. So did Yoshi, as the wall caved in. Using his bayonet, he chopped an opening into 102. Within, they saw Ray, Vigo, and the egg. Joining them, the two of them unexpectedly asked, "What's that strange thing?" Watching the room's openings, Street Rat awaited anything that may attack. Removing a remote, tan scanner from a pouch on his vest, the Aussie started examining the egg. "Lucinda, you get to the butcher shop yet?" Concerned about his teammates, Ray wanted to know. Chilly, she exited the rusty T-bird. The lieutenant replied, "Yeah, I'm here, but there's some old guy standing at the main door." Holding up 10 feet from him, she adjusted her sniper rifle on her back. Smiling, he spoke. When he did, 2 grey spikes raised like on a porcupine. "I don't know you, little one," he told her. Pulling her sidearm, she cunningly commented, "I guess you have my teammates. You will be my breakfast today," he said. Cocking her gun, Lucinda, agitated, spoke, "You're welcome to try." Rushing at his ham and eggs, his spikes reaching at her. Ducking the left spike, she shot the other speeding at her. Unbothered from the round, the mantis spikes recoiled to strike. Unimpressed, Hawk leisurely walked forward, boldly firing her weapon, hitting him in the throat and chest. The wounds immediately filled themselves. Astonished by this, the lieutenant made a break for the door behind him. Replacing the spikes, he charged to meet her head-on. Rolling over the T-bird, the mantis spike shattered the driver's side window. "Yoshi, did you leave anything in the car?" she eagerly asked as she opened the door. Groaning, the mad mutation ripped into the roof of the vehicle, attempting to kill her. "Like what?" Kin comically answered. Sawing into the roof, in need to free his weapon, he yelled, "Your skull will be my plaything." Turning to see over her shoulder, she emptied her clip. Sinking them directly into his ugly brow, she responded, "Something to stop a regenerating mutant?" Cutting the crap, Yoshi immediately stated, "Blow up the car. When he's near it, heat slows down regeneration. Good luck." Reloading, she taunted, "Hey, you half-chewed piece of gum. Your mother was so ugly that even Frankenstein chased her with a torch. Frantically tossing the car in the air via his spikes, the creature ran to kill. Abruptly, fire rained down atop the monster. Holding the Field General Atlas Cunningham's flamethrower, Rommel flashed a smile. "There you go again, Lucinda, getting yourself in trouble." Screaming, it burned, quickly turning to ash. Thankless, his ex-wife walked through the dark ash, accostingly saying, "Why are you here? What, my old job wasn't enough? You had to come steal this one as well?" Shrugging, Rommel followed her. He ironically wanted to know, "You alone here?" Hawk vengefully spun around, angrily saying, "Fuck off!" "Oh, good to see you too," her ex tensely told her. "Why are you here, asshole?" Lucinda invasively queried. Fed up with an old lover, he childishly shouted, "I came to help Sindra." A once pet name. Holstering her 9mm, she went to find Eve and Candace. Sitting in the butcher's shop basement, Candace